Good evening from St. John in the Wilderness Church. We're so happy that you chose to spend this evening with us. And we're trying a new series here on Wednesday nights. It's going to begin at about 6 o'clock, and we'll wrap it up about 6:40 or so, unless the guest is really boring, and then we'll wrap it up a little quicker. But tonight's guest is John Brunner, and we're really pleased to have you, John. How you doing? Good. So we're calling the series Between the Trees, and a lot of people have been asking why are we calling that? And there is actually kind of a theological reason for it. In the book of Genesis, the second chapter, there's a tree of life, and then at the very end of the Bible, in the book of Revelation, the 22nd chapter, is that the tree of life shows up again. And then a whole lot happens in the Bible between those two tree of lives. And part of that is in the Bible, and then part of Between the Trees is also the stuff that's going on with our lives as well. So in this time while we are separated from each other because of the pandemic, one of the things that a lot of us are missing is just checking in with each other. And we thought it might be a fun opportunity to do these interviews, just to get to know a little bit more about our parishioners, and also some special guests too that we'll have as well. And I thought there is no person more that's better to have on our very first time than John Brunner. Many of you might know John, and because he's around the church a lot. Usually he's fixing things, or if in regular times he serves as a verger here at church, and he sort of runs the show. He's one of our vergers that runs the show during a Sunday morning worship. And in the lead up to this, John, I think I said that you grew up on a family farm in Wisconsin. That's right, right?
You did. Fake news.
Where actually did you grow up?
I grew up in Pearl River Township in Stearns County, Minnesota, just north of Belgrade, between Belgrade and Melrose, a couple of big cities out there.
So that's not Wisconsin?
That's not Wisconsin, no.
Do you wish you grew up on a farm in Wisconsin?
I probably wish I'd never grown up on a farm.
Oh, why is that? What sorts of things did you do when you were a kid growing up on the farm?
Well, it was a lot of work. Hurry up and get your work done so you can play. But playing, I look back now, playing was actually practicing for work. Building stuff, taking around, fixing bicycles. It was a happy day when we get a second-hand bicycle, and at least one of the wheels was working. But
what sort of chores? I'm assuming that wait. Let's see. You grew up. You have siblings, right?
I have siblings. Yes, I am the third of 10.
10 kids.
10 kids. Yeah. And we had chores that it was revolving. It didn't really matter if you were male or female. So you would go. We had a rotation of different jobs in the barn and then different jobs in the house, and we would rotate through. And I have no idea where the starting cutoff age was.
So who gave the jobs out? Was it your dad or your mom?
Mostly mom, I think. Dad was too busy for administration, I suppose. Maybe didn't have the personality for it.
And okay, so you had a whole bunch of things that had to happen around the farm, right?
Yes.
So what was like your favorite job as a kid? Of all those tasks that needed to be done around the farm, you were like, yes, I get to do...
I don't think I got that excited about it. Which is kind of reflective of my life now. When people ask me what my favorite job to do is, all seem about the same. Do you have a favorite job as a priest? I mean, do you have one thing that stands out?
Good question.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
you have a
Talking to you,
whole
John.
bunch of things that,
Talking to you is my favorite thing to do ever.
well, it all mixes together and you don't even realize that you're changing jobs a lot of the time.
Right. Okay, how about the worst job on the farm? Like the thing that you dreaded, oh, I've got to do this.
It's actually a good life story because I yearned to drive tractor for a baler because my cousins got to do it. That's almost impossible to think about it now, but it was third grade when I was driving a tractor.
Third grade.
Third grade.
Could you even reach the pedals?
Yeah, but I was at first so excited to do it. Man, it was the most boring, tedious, and my dad was piling bales on the rack, and you could never drive the tractor well enough to satisfy him. And
He had high standards.
yeah, and that was a boring job. So then I transferred, after a little while, transferred to the hay barn where you can pile bales. It was hot up there, but
Yeah.
you do it as fast as you wanted and get out of there. So that was pretty nice.
Could you do it as slow as you wanted?
It depends if you wanted to get buried in the hay or not, I guess.
Oh, so the hay's coming in, and
Yes.
you've got to deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you can't communicate with the people that are putting the hay. These were in medieval times.
Yeah.
Nobody had smartphones or walkie-talkies.
So it's bales of hay, big
Bales of hay.
How much would a bale weigh?
I would say 30 to 60 pounds, probably.
Wow. And how old were you when you were doing this?
Fourth grade, fourth grade.
Wow. The bale weighed more than you did.
Yeah. Yeah. But I was smarter than the bales.
Are you sure about that?
But it's weird because all the stuff that had to happen, it just had to happen.
Yeah.
It wasn't really options. Which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. And then, okay, so then you moved off the farm and you got married. Beautiful woman. You have a wonderful family, right?
Yes.
That's not a trick question.
Yeah. Loaded, but not
Loaded.
So yes, Gretchen is a school teacher at Matamidi, and she now has a daughter that teaches at the same school.
Oh, that's...
First grade and kindergarten in the same school, so that they actually ride together some days. And then Emily lives in St. Paul. She's working from home now, but she's a chemical engineer that works for H.B. Fuller, actually in construction materials of all the curses she ended up.
And how long have you been married to Gretchen?
27 years.
Bliss.
Huh?
Bliss.
Oh.
27 years of bliss.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So growing up, I think I know this because we've talked about this before. You probably, because you were on the farm, you probably didn't go on a ton of vacations.
No, I remember staying overnight. And I don't know which happened first. One time I stayed overnight at a friend's house. And another night we went overnight to some of my dad's relatives in southwestern Minnesota. And that's we'd stay overnight. We'd take turns staying overnight at our grandpa and grandma's in the summertime.
Okay.
But they lived on a farm also, so we went there, did chores with them.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
At least you knew what you were doing.
It was a different kind of chores, so it was.
So you're a canoeist.
Yes.
When did you, I know that because John and I have gone on Boundary Waters canoe trips together. And he is an accomplished paddler. I've never been in your boat though. They've never put us together in one boat. I don't know
That
what
would be a boat. Maybe two solos.
I'm not sure who would be in the stern. We might have to fight over it. So when did you start paddling?
I believe it was 1984. A guy that I was working for had gone up there a few times, and I went. I'd never been in a canoe before and went up there. Another adventure.
1984. And so between then and now, how many Boundary Waters canoe trips do you think you've been on? We've been on 2 together, right? Just 2.
Yeah, I went 3 times this year.
Wow.
So I went with the church group and then a couple of times with family. My girls are going up there now, so it's getting kind of nice because they take care of a lot of the stuff, and I don't have to. Maybe I can recruit them to organize the church.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Do you always catch fish?
Not always, no. There's no guarantees when it comes to fishing.
You caught a fish on our trip, didn't you?
Yeah, when Vic and I went and fished, can't even think of the name of the lake now.
Yeah, I can't remember that lake either.
But yeah, we actually caught some fish there.
I don't remember eating any fish though.
We didn't eat any fish, no.
Why is that? Why didn't you bring your fish back? Not big enough.
I think we discussed the logistics of getting Vic, who had a hurt ankle, and the fish across a couple of portages.
Yes, that was a challenging.
So it was.
Yes.
And catching the fish is almost as good as catching them and eating them.
Yeah.
Now, if I could get you to clean them and cook them, then I would probably brought
See,
them.
that would be my favorite job as a priest, to clean the fish.
Really?
You'll have to teach me next. I'm not much of a fisherman, as you know. I like to paddle. You like to do both. Which you like to do more, fish or paddle?
I think it's kind of like chores on the farm. Take what you get. I think that's the beauty of it. I mean, like this past year with what happened to Vic, and we had to take that side trip and actually explore that river. That was some pretty neat stuff. I mean,
Yeah. It was pretty neat for me to watch you.
well, the first snag we came to there was, I think you stayed back and Steve and I went and checked things out, and it took us a little while to realize that the route was flagged with little orange flags.
Right.
But,
I'm good at staying back. I send Brunner ahead, and then I'll just stay back here.
But, I mean, that was an adventure in itself. I mean, it had a purpose, but yet it was an adventure. And it was even fun just to watch the two of you paddle together and see.
It was a great trip.
Yeah, I mean, it took something that started out really good, turned really bad, and then turned into something pretty good.
Pretty good again.
It was what we made out of it, I guess. So.
Yeah. So which do you like to go on canoe trips? Do you like to go with your daughters more or the men of the church more? Not that you have to choose.
Well, the daughters are easier.
And you have to recognize you're talking to one of the men of the church. Right
The
now,
daughters
aren't here.
The daughters are easier. They actually listen sometimes. No, it's the same thing. It's all an adventure. I mean, it's all.
Must be pretty special to go with your daughters.
It is, and they have different skill sets. One of them probably not handling fish very well.
Uh-huh.
The other one will, and they're really good at keeping score of who can do what better as well.
At least there's just 2 of them and not 10 of them.
Yes,
Like what you had.
that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Because my brothers and sisters weren't all as well behaved. say I was, But
So, John, you do a lot of stuff around here at the church, right?
yep.
Yeah, you've been here a long time. I mean, I haven't been here a long time, but before I even got here, I was hearing about John Brunner, legends of John Brunner. So how did you guys first come to St. John's?
Well, we had a son that was stillborn, and we weren't actually, I don't know if we were actually members. We had come here quite a few times trying to figure out the most comfortable spot to sit.
Where did you try?
Pretty much just the one spot where we sit.
If you hit it right the first time.
It was empty. The pew was empty that first day. Nobody had claimed it, so a lot of people at St. John's like to sit in that same spot all the time. So people of the church that were, Ken Whitney was running the cemetery. He was very helpful. Father Joe was a priest here. Unbelievable what he did for us to find our way through. And I don't know, I suppose I should have kept a journal of when things happened. But one of the first things I did as far as property stuff was a guy named Roger Smith, who was me before I got here.
That's a scary thing.
Yeah.
Being you.
He was an electrician and had, but he was here all the time and doing all kinds of things. And first job I did with him was cut some windows into the doors. Some of them still exist in different spots because of...
like the office door.
Yeah, and the parlor door.
Those used to be solid doors.
Right, and you couldn't view what was going on inside, so as far as safety for the people in there.
And that was one of the first things you did at the church.
And Roger was horrified cutting a hole
I would be
door
too.
and making a window fit in it.
You weren't afraid to do that?
No. The great thing was that Roger, by the time I was done, he had everything cleaned up all the way around the church, so it was pretty, we worked pretty well together.
And then he left.
He died. He had cancer and died. And I mean, he got cancer and was, like in a month, was gone. But I had been doing a lot of stuff with him and on the property committee. When I started on the property committee, most of the guys were retired. So that was close to 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I was in my late 20s and they were retired, so it was...
Yeah. So you do a lot of work around here, fixing the place up and going in spots that none of us want to go. And then also, like in normal times, you're one of our vergers. And you and I have talked about this, how it would be fun to put a GoPro on your forehead just for people to see what a verger does on Sunday morning. So imagine a Sunday morning, John, and you're serving as one of the vergers.
Did it snow the night before?
Let's assume it did not snow. So we'll leave the shoveling of the whole sidewalk out of it.
And the furnace is working?
And the furnace may or may not be working, but on this particular morning it's working. So what are some of the things you would do on a Sunday morning?
Well, typically get here for the 8 o'clock service and make sure Candace and Napawowski are here taking care of business. And that's the beauty of it. You get here and have the regulars, and it's almost like going out for coffee because you get stories, and then typically something, you read the bulletin, see what's going on. Hopefully there's nothing odd going on, but if there is, try to get as much information as you can. And
Odd, anything odd?
yeah, and then you get through the 8 o'clock service, which is pretty standard. And you got about 4 minutes between that and the 9 o'clock service to get everything set up. And that would be another good time to have a to broadcast what goes on in there, just to see what has to happen.
Right.
Maybe people would be more open to changing, adding 15 minutes in there.
And
I was at my dad's church, and they started at 8:15. Seems strange, but I don't know why.
A lot of times people think that in a service of worship, the priest is in sort of running the show. Is that true here? Who's in charge?
There's typically a committee. I mean, that
it's a team, isn't it?
it is, because even the vergers that aren't in action are typically communicating.
Yeah.
Candace is a good one too.
Yeah.
She'll be seeing something from back there and giving you hand signals or something.
Yeah.
And it's,
You know, the Bible talks about the body of Christ and each of us having a different member in the body of Christ. And on a Sunday morning, that's what it feels like to me. You know, I'm just like one hand, but there are all these other things that are going on that makes it work.
and the uncontrollable human factor of the people that are involved maybe forgetting something, the participants, the members of the church. I mean, we've had people get sick.
Yeah.
We've had ambulances come and wheel people out, and
Yeah.
that's just the way it goes.
I heard last Saturday evening was kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah. Well, Tomke and I have a way of getting the cops called on us, it seems like.
Last Saturday evening, we were doing a service of worship in the cemetery, an All Saints, All Hallows Eve service of worship. And we had our fire pit out there and had a wonderful fire in the midst of a windstorm. And John and Dennis were taking care of the fire after everybody had left. I can't leave you guys for 5 minutes. And then
Well, that fire wasn't bigger than maybe 6 inches by 12 inches. And the flames never got higher than that. I don't know who called it in for sure, but it was...
yeah, so the police and the fire department, the White Bear Fire Department, showed up.
Yeah, there were 3 fire trucks and a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are full of excitement. Well, John, part of Between the Trees is an opportunity for our parishioners or anybody else out there, whoever might be watching, to give us some questions. Not me questions. They don't care about me, but they might have some questions.
You might be surprised.
So we have a wonderful contraption that has been devised called the Wonder Stick. And at any moment, the Wonder Stick will bring me the Wonder Stick is making me beg for the questions. There we go. Here's the Wonder Stick. It's COVID approved. Oh, this is a really great question. This feels so powerful. I have the questions and you don't.
Oh.
Okay. So actually, the first question is a parishioner came by earlier, Tobias, and apparently you made a promise to him and perhaps some other youth to go up into the bell tower. And he's wondering if it's your intent to renege on the promise forever, or
No.
are you going to take him up there?
Whenever it's kosher with,
When we can get back in.
I got 4 or 5 standing. I actually have a member that's a former member that's not here anymore. She asked me, she never got to go up there and see it when she was a member here. And yeah, it's an adventure to get up there, but I thought I'd taken Tobias up there, but maybe not.
Yeah,
I know I've
anyway.
taken some youth groups up there. And,
So that's his question. When are you going to take him up? When are we going to get people back in the church?
yeah.
It's not your fault.
No, as soon as
It's COVID fault
Yeah.
that we can't do that yet. Okay. Okay, here we go. Are there any secret places in the church?
Secret.
I know of a couple places that you told me about.
There is a spot behind it's called the trophy case in the parlor, under that stair,
Yeah.
where you have to belly crawl under the ductwork to get there, and then you can pop up behind there, but...
Why would you want to do that?
Oh, I didn't want to do that.
Why did you? Why did you do that? You were doing something.
Running a cable from the weirdness of these buildings where we added a concrete foundation. Not me. In 1960, somebody added a concrete foundation without any kind of a conduit coming through
Okay.
from the parish hall to here. So actually it was Jason and I were trying to run a cable, I think, for sound or something. And it's a very tight space under there. The ductwork was not originally...
You didn't send Jason?
No, but he was kind enough to be on the outside telling jokes, so I was in there laughing and stuck under some ductwork at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Next time, I'm more than happy to tell the jokes while you're doing that.
Yeah,
so that's a pretty good secret spot. Did you find anything back there?
Some cobwebs. I think there's evidence of some creatures being in there, but and above, the slope of the inside of the church is different than the slope of the outside of the church, so there's actually an attic up there that you can walk through.
Wow. You can actually walk. You can stand up.
Yeah.
So you can, what you're saying, John, is that there's like a way to walk down the nave.
Right. There's framing up there.
Wow. That's...
Yeah, you can walk up above so this is actually 30-some feet from the floor to the peak. 33 feet. I think I measured it once when trying to get a balloon out of a fan.
Hey, another virtue job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Balloon out of a fan.
Well, yeah, on Pentecost, one of the balloons got caught in the fan up there. And
so call John Brunner.
Yeah, and stack up some scaffolding, because how do you get up through that fan?
Wow. Right. That's really high.
Yeah. And
so scaffolding right in the middle of the church.
I actually cleaned the back fan, so I had the scaffolding up there on wheels, so you could just roll it to the front.
Oh, that was smart.
No, it wasn't. Because those beams are hanging down.
Yeah.
So you couldn't roll it because you hit the beams, so you had to unstack some of the scaffolding before you could roll it and then restack it. So
that sounds like a lot of work.
So the second time, if there's ever another balloon incident.
That's always the second. Actually, it's usually the third time that you get it right. But you get it right on the second time.
Well,
sometimes.
I don't like work enough to make that much of it for myself.
All right, so those are really, I have not been in either of those places. So I need to get it.
Have you been to the bell tower?
I have been to the bell tower, yes. But I'm not sure if I've been as far, I'm not sure I have actually.
Have you been on the roof of the bell tower?
I have not been on the roof. Is that somewhere that you take the youth of the church?
I have taken them.
Just checking.
I have taken them up there, which is actually it's set down inside of the stone.
Okay.
So it's not like.
Right. It's not like a dangerous thing.
It's not a sloped roof. It's a flat roof.
Oh, okay. Oh.
But it's a really good view of.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
White Bear Lake. Yes.
We'll have to. Yeah, I want to go on one of your sanctioned tours.
Sanctioned. I'll teach you how to clean the leaves out of the gutters.
There you go.
That's
okay. Okay, here's the second question. Who are you training to take over for you here? Do you have an apprentice? This was not my question, John, by the way.
What?
But as I'm asking that question, I'm wondering, oh my goodness, what would happen if if lightning struck John Brunner, what would we do?
That's a very good question. I don't know that there's any. Seems like people lose interest when I start training them on that.
You'll have to find an apprentice.
That is, yeah.
Okay, just
I don't have any one person, but I think all the young people that come here, I'd love to train them to do different stuff, and I try to allow them to do as many of the things that I do as they can.
That is one of the things I've really appreciated about you, John, is you get the youth involved.
Well, it's if there are going to be apprentices, and not even just here, but going out somewhere else. I mean, I was thinking about what kind of questions you would ask and what kind of questions they would ask. And one of the smartest things I could have done was had my kids teach me before I had children. That would be a smart
I'm not
thing.
sure. Wouldn't that be great if it worked like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
They seem to have unlimited things that they want me to learn.
When we go to heaven, we'll have to ask God why it didn't work.
Why it didn't work that way, yeah.
Okay, here's another question. What was important for a faith community when raising your daughters? That's a hard question. What were you looking for, and why was St. John a good place to raise up your daughters?
They were allowed to participate a lot. I mean, it seemed like when I was growing up, children were supposed to be seen and not heard. And still, there are days when I wish that were the case. But they actually started ushering probably before they were in school, and then got to meet a bunch of people. And it's great when they come back here because the people they met back then that are still here remember them as little kids, but they talk to them. I remember when Margaret came back, and
Margaret Thor
was a member here, and she came back, and Emily and I stopped for something here, and the two of them, I had to wait for them to finish their conversation. But,
and they've probably done everything around here. They read, and they were.
Anne was actually, took Margaret's place as a verger.
Oh, really?
Anne was 15 or 16, so
wow, there you have it.
She being a verger allowed me to come to a few more services a week because she didn't have a way to get here. And I mean, what do you do if you're 15 and you're a verger? How do you?
Right.
And there too, she knew. She didn't have to know everything. She just had to know who to go to for.
Yeah.
So she got to know more people.
And my hunch is that the community was really supportive of girls doing whatever.
Yeah, and they read Christmas plays, and they still enjoy coming here. I mean, Anne's hoping to get married here someday after
I know, after all this.
COVID-19, but...
Well, I see some more questions are coming in from the Wonder Stick. So here.
How many questions could come in?
It's called a Wonder Stick, John, because people are wondering.
So quite a play on words.
Thank you, Wonder Stick bearer. Okay. Oh, wow. This is like So, what do you use socks for in the church?
Somebody that's been here. To weight the ropes that hold up the Christmas decorations and the Pentecost banners, and
so that they...
Yeah, so that it pulls the rope down. There used to be I think I still have them in the basement. A very sharp edge, heavy weight on there.
Like a piece of lead. I think I've seen that thing.
Yeah, I took a bunch of the finish off the wood and chipped up the paint. Yeah.
So you got one of your old socks, or was this a fresh? Did you buy it just for the occasion?
No. No, and there was some.
So one of your old socks
and some sand from in the bag in the garage that we use for traction.
That is.
Put a bread bag, which I can't take credit for that idea because that's what my mom used to put on her feet when. If your boots had holes in them,
right,
wasn't a big deal. Put a bread bag on your foot.
Hey, I did that even as a suburban kid. Yeah, that's pretty neat. And there you have it. So socks, they're not just for feet anymore.
Nope.
Okay, not in the church. Those are liturgical socks. Okay, Kathy Smith wants a joke. And it can't be a long joke.
Okay, how many Episcopalians
do I have to laugh at this?
No.
Okay.
This is an old standby.
Okay.
How many Episcopalians does it take to change a light bulb? Change? What the hell are you talking about? Change. We've been doing it that way for years. So
I think the Lutherans could have that same joke.
I think so.
You know?
It's a human thing, probably not Episcopalians.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Do you have any other jokes that you can share with the world? I know they're the jokes that you say around the campfire on canoe trips.
I know. I'm better at those kind of jokes, the real impromptu ones.
And country songs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe watching your brother cook up some goo.
Right. As we're eating mac and cheese and listening to 1970s country music coming out of John Brunner. Okay, so last question, John, and thanks for doing this.
Is this 40 minutes already?
Yeah. Can you believe it?
Oh, you do have a clock.
I'm watching the clock right there.
Daddy, you does.
Hey, be careful. That's the tree of life right there.
Which end? Where's the start?
That's right. Which one are you closer to, at the beginning or the end here? So, but thanks. It's been really fun. I knew you would be fun to talk to. And we're so appreciative of everything that you do here at the church. All joking aside, we're so grateful, John, for what you do. And for your family, you give so much to the church. So, thank you. Here's the last question. What was your most unusual, and it's misspelled, residential work project? Residential work project, okay. So this isn't the St. John's project, but a residential work project. Most unusual. You put a staircase in for me that was another wonder. Somebody's wondering. I'm going to give you your choice. You can either answer that one, or do you like basset hounds?
Basset hounds.
I have no idea what that means.
From Margaret?
The first one was.
The first question was from Margaret?
Residential, yes. And she did not misspell unusual. I think that was our help over here.
Oh.
That misspelled unusual.
Well, I just last week, I've been looking for a couple of years at and this is typically how things go, a guy had an ice dam problem, which is usually caused from heat escaping somewhere. And I'd cut a hole in the roof to put a vent in there and let the heat out.
I thought you didn't. That's like a bad thing, John, putting holes in roofs.
Yeah. Don't try this at home.
Okay. So I shouldn't try that. I shouldn't. Yes, okay.
But I cut a hole in the roof and there was a cold air return that was open to the attic under it. And the guy claimed that it didn't used to have that problem. And I suppose the weirdest problem that I run across is the last one I did, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make up a lot of the stuff that you And usually when there's a problem like that, it's a couple of things compounded. Like this one.
You're one of those workers that you can call when that can do anything. You'll figure it out.
Well, unfortunately, I suppose.
That's one of your gifts.
It takes, I mean, it was weird because where I cut the hole was the only spot you could even see what the problem was. It was an open spot on the back of a cold air return and about that much attic space. But it's never boring.
Yeah, like that.
I mean,
like that. Well, thanks, John. You are our debut. You did beautifully. Appreciate it. We can have a little snippet of you now. I'm glad to know that you did not grow up in Wisconsin. So again, thanks. And thanks to all of you who have joined us tonight. Between the Trees is every Wednesday night beginning at 6 o'clock. We have to get out of here I'm actually a couple of minutes over because we have a Bible study. I'm sure they're praying for us right now, but a Bible study that begins at 6:45 to 7:45. And it's a different link. But thanks so much for joining us this evening. We hope that you enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about our good friend, John Brunner. Good evening.